What is up, Pitt fans? Thank you for tuning in to Inside the Panthers on YouTube. My name is Steven Thompson. I'm so glad to have you here. We're trying something a little bit new on this channel. The Pitt Panthers officially opened training camp today. There's a lot of new faces, plenty of returners, and lots to talk about. So that's what we're going to do. Every day following practice at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex, I'll be coming at you with the Inside the Panthers practice report, a synopsis of the day's action, everything that you need to know from the day that was at Pitt training camp. So we hope you'll tune in, you'll keep following this channel, you'll like this video and keep subscribing and watch these videos that we make because they're the best place to get Pitt news straight from the source, people who are actually at practice like myself. So let's get into it. Today was the first time the 2023 unit was together for the first time on this field, adding a couple new faces over the summer. That means this was really the first time that, spring practices wasn't the complete team that's going to take the field on September 2nd against Wofford at Acrisure Stadium. So everyone's kind of feeling themselves out, feeling each other out. They were just in, helmets and shorts and maybe some light shoulder pads, some smaller shoulder pads if you were an offensive lineman. Very limited stuff, no hitting. When we were there, they were just mostly going through individual stuff, install things because even though there is some talent returning, it is a lot of new faces and guys are really getting adjusted to each other. The word of the day I felt like was really comfort. Not just on offense, but on defense. Obviously, year two under offensive coordinator Frank Signetti's system, guys feel more comfortable. They feel like they're able to play a little bit faster, just because they know things. They're not installing new plays every day. They can kind of understand things a little bit better now. They can play a little bit freer because they actually know what they're doing. And it was the same on defense too. Talking to safeties coach Corey Sanders, he highlighted Donovan McMillan to transfer at safety, who kind of went through a mini kind of halfway redshirt year during the spring, a crash course on the defense and the playbook and on being a Pitt Panther. So he was able to uh, he was able to, okay, we're gonna back this up. We're gonna cut off. Talking to safeties coach Corey Sanders, he pointed out Donovan McMillan, the transfer from Florida, safety. He kind of got a crash course on the defense and the playbook and on just being in the program at Pitt during the spring. And that was kind of him getting his feet wet. And now that the summer has arrived and the start of the season's about a month away, he kind of knows things a little bit better. He can play much faster. He can really just play football and not worry about getting the exact pieces of the scheme correct. He can really just kind of be himself and play. And that was true for a lot of guys, especially all the newcomers that Pitt has this year. But the main event of the day was hearing from Pat Narduzzi. He talked for about a half hour. Lots of big picture questions. Kind of light on real football for right now. It's the early stages of training camp. We're still talking about where guys might fit in. Where the position battles are, and while there was, we did talk some football. It was more about what they hope to see and hope to get out of training camp as opposed to anything that they've actually seen so far. It was a lot of questions, little light on answer, but just getting a sense of the direction that this team is headed in. One thing Pat Narduzzi did talk about, kind of in the big picture question, sort of realm, was the disrespect that he feels like his squad is getting from ACC voters. Just one pick to the All ACC first team, that was offensive tackle Matt Goncalves, and they were picked sixth in the ACC preseason poll. You ask Pat Narduzzi, he likes to play both sides a little bit. He likes to kind of pretend like he doesn't care, but also, wants to put that chip on his shoulder. Uh, you know, they, I think Pitt feels like they deserve a little bit more respect in this league, but don't want to be the ones begging for it. I can read you this quote from him, but they sound comfortable, but they do acknowledge it, and they do know that the perception maybe lags behind what this team has done in the past. I'll read this quote from Narduzzi for you. We've never been picked to finish first. It's the same thing as last year, same thing as the year before, except now it's, I guess, sixth in the total ECC with one division now. I guess that would be like being third in the Coastal. So I guess we're just right where they always put us. I think this team is frustrated by it, especially given what's happened over the past 2 years. Pitt's won 20 games. They've been the second most winningest program in the ACC since Pat Narduzzi took over as head coach. You could argue they deserve a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt. They haven't been spectacular, save for that 2021 season where they won 11 games and won the conference title, but no one else has been that spectacular either. And I think that's what Pat Narduzzi is arguing a little bit, is that they put it together on the field more than anyone else in this conference, and they deserve a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt. Does this stuff matter in the grand scheme of things? No, because if Pitt wins the games it's supposed to, and wins as many games as it thinks it will, they will finish better than a tie for sixth with Duke. They will leapfrog Miami. It'll be tough to catch, Clemson and Florida State, but there's it's not completely outside of the question for them to be better than UNC, to be better than Duke, to be better than Miami, to even be better than NC State, despite, some key additions for NC State that makes them maybe a little bit more dangerous than they have been in the past. But that was really the biggest thing that I took away from this, is with each passing year, Pitt gets a little more, that chip on their shoulder gets a little bit larger, and you could really feel that come through during the first day today when we heard from Pat Narduzzi. Other than that, it was a lot of the same kind of training camp cliches that you hear. Guys are in the best shapes of their lives. They're looking for the 11th best guy, the best 11 guys in position battles. Everyone's more comfortable, things like that. But in between those, you can kind of get some hints, like I said, about where they're headed and what they're hoping to learn from these practices and these training camp battles that they're about to have. Narduzzi identified some major position battles at offensive guard, left tackle, even running back and quarterback. We'll get into those in a minute, just about how serious those are and whether they're just, Pat Narduzzi wanted to push his players, but punters apparently open too, and wide receiver is going to be a huge one as well. I'll get into the ones that I think are the really big ones, and the ones that I think the coaching staff will be looking at most closely. That offensive guard battle is going to be really interesting between Ryan Jacoby and Ryan Baer. Those seem like the two guys in the best position to earn that job by the time the season opener rolls around. Jacoby's the more experienced one. Both these guys are talented, but Baer has immense talent, and he's a young guy, as I believe a redshirt freshman, that his coaches have talked up constantly. Even when he's not playing, his practices have looked great. He's been great on scout team, things like that. There's definitely something to be said for, even though he doesn't have a ton of game experience, he did play a little bit last year, but he's going to really, really get a good chance to start this year. Moving on to that wide receiver battle, this is something that's been talked about dating back to the spring. Without Jared Wayne there, you're really confident with the top two. I think Bub Means and Kanata Mumfield had big springs, but outside of that, a lot of wild cards. 4 freshmen between Israel Polk, Lamar Seymour, Kenny Johnson, and Zion Fowler-L, who will be able to compete for that spot. They're all talented guys, and the coaches really like what they have there. And then there's also Dejon Reynolds, the former 4-star recruit who began his career at Florida, came in this year. These guys have got some talent. I think that's obvious, but how they put it all together and whether they put it all together and who puts it all together, those are all really open questions. There are a lot of wild cards in that group as well. So that's going to be one to watch too. And I think going to be a really fun one. Pat Narduzzi said that those freshmen are really, really special, and that one of those guys, at least one of those guys, is going to play. He said that very definitively. One of these freshmen is going to play for us, maybe two. That's the exact quote from him. He doesn't know which one they are going to be, but someone out of that freshman receiver group is going to play for Pitt this year. Moving on a little bit, back to the defensive side, you can talk about linebacker, which I think is another really intriguing battle. There's really only one spot open, at least in the starting lineup, after Servassier Dennis left for the NFL this past spring. But Ryan Manolik loves to cross-train his guys. They play a bunch of different positions. No one's really set in stone, and he's going to shuffle these guys around and try to find the best, not just the best three, but the best combination of the best three for that starting lineup. And it'll come down to, obviously Shane Simon and Bengali Kamara are two guys who started last year. They're pretty much locks to, I think, be in that starting role again this year. Where exactly? I think Kamara is pretty safely a star. That's where that's his position, the star position. That's an outside linebacker spot. So I think he's pretty solidly there. I think that's where the team likes him. They're going to be open to other things, but I think that's where they like him. Simon, on the other hand, could play Mike, the middle linebacker spot, or that money spot. He's experimented a little bit. He played a little bit of Mike towards the end of the season last year. He's got a little bit of experience there, but he was mostly at money on the outside where he was really good in coverage. He was one of the better ones on the team and in the conference. So he's another guy that I think is versatile and ready to play both of those positions wherever they need. But they also, I think, like his intelligence, communication skills that are really important for that Mike spot. But Solomon DeShields and Brandon George are two former reserves who have played a lot of football. They're older guys now. They're ones that'll be in that mix too. So there's four guys that will definitely play. How that starting lineup shakes out with then, three true freshmen behind them and some other younger guys behind them. How that'll all shake out will be something to watch too. And the last one I want to touch on is the safety battle. Another one that I've written about. It's been ongoing since spring ball. Donovan McMillan, Javon McIntyre, PJ O'Brien are those top three guys who are competing for two safety spots left open by Brandon Hill and Eric Hallett. But don't count out Stephon Hall either. He's going to be right in that mix too. He's going to get every opportunity. So that's one that's going to be really exciting. Some new faces there, some really, really talented guy. I'm huge fans. Just personally, I think Javon McIntyre and PJ O'Brien are two really budding stars. I think those guys are going to be around for a while and they're going to be really good. So it's just kind of a matter now of when they actually get in that lineup and if they can get in that lineup this year. Other things of note, we talked about Kanata Mumpfield. He missed the spring game with a finger injury, but according to Tycon Underwood, he's all good. He's healthy. He's ready to go now. So no need to worry about that. He even added some weight in the offseason. Just, he wanted to be able to break some more tackles. He wanted to be more durable. He wanted to more completely make that jump from from the group of five to the power five coming from Akron to Pitt. So he feels like his body's a little more ready to take on the punishment of 11 games against Power 5 opponents this year. Brandon George is another guy who's changed his body a little bit. He told us he's lost 15 pounds, gotten a little bit leaner. He maintains that he still has the power. He can still hit like he always did, but will be a little bit more durable, able to avoid some of the injuries that held him back last year. And then also, like I mentioned, the positional versatility. He's really excited about that, being able to move around a little bit, give himself a better opportunity to play, and ultimately help the team in a couple different ways as well. So that's really all there is from the first day of Pitt training camp. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. That's youtube.com/at Inside the Panthers for interviews, highlights, and original content like this. Again, we're going to be coming from the south side of Pittsburgh every day after the Panthers practice. Make sure you check out our reporting straight from camp also at si.com/college/Pittsburgh. That's insidethepanthers.com as well. So make sure you check out all the stuff that we got for you come straight from Pitt camp. I'll see you all on the next one. That'll come out Friday. Thanks.